and welcome to another episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. My name as always is Jamie Hughes, and today I'm going to be giving you my review of Game of Thrones Season 7 Episode 3, which was entitled The Queen's Justice. Now if you want to keep up to date with all my latest videos, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, and as always with my videos, this review may include spoilers, so you have now been warned. And just a quick one before I do jump into this review, I apologise about the lighting situation. I'm filming this at like 10 to 10 on Monday. I've just watched Game of Thrones, so I want to get this review out as quick as possible. I've had a hectic day, so I apologise for the lighting situation. It will be back to normal in every other video. So let's talk about Game of Thrones Episode 3 then. Wow, what an amazing episode. It may have been my favourite episode yet, definitely of the season. Just the way it was a really slow burn in this episode, but loads of stuff happened and there was loads of great story and character development, and I loved it. And we started off on Dragonstone. Daenerys and Jon finally met, and it was as brilliant as I thought it was going to be. The way that they just bounced off each other, they both tried to one-up each other, they both thought they had the upper hand, but in the end it was the hand, big Tyrion Lannister, who came through for them both. I just loved the whole dynamic of that scene. Davos was great, it was just brilliant, and to see that progression, like just the progression through the episode where they both started off really standoffish with each other. Neither was going to really apologise what either of the family had done. They both were independent thinkers, and they both just, it was the way that they just tried to one-up each other. I thought it was so well done, and it was great, and it was really nice to see. This is like the first time we've properly seen Jon stand up for himself. He's not had really anybody whispering in his ear or trying to help him out. He was making those decisions to almost fight Daenerys on his own, and that was really, really great to see. But what was just so good about this, as I say, the whole development of that storyline, it was Tyrion running all the way through it, because he had the meeting with Jon on his own, kind of cooled the waters with Jon, sort of brought him down to his level, not actually, because you know that's really low, but brought him down to his level, you know, empathised with Jon, was like, look Jon, I know what you want, I know you want the help, and I'm going to help you. You know, he has a chat with Daenerys on her own, on her terms, brings her down to his level, gets them to meet sort of in a neutral ground, not in the throne room or anything like that. And that was just so great, that second meeting between those two, where they both kind of thought, do you know what, we do kind of need to have each other's back and help each other. And it was great that Daenerys, who was really, really standoffish in the first scene with them, really took the high ground and offered Jon the dragon glass. And I'm just really, really looking forward to seeing where their story progresses, because it does look like Jon is going to be on Dragonstone for a fair few weeks now. He's not technically a prisoner, but it's just really exciting to see that dynamic and where this story is actually going to go. And moving on from that, it was another really great scene, really, really short, but the scene with Theon where they pulled him out of the sea, like, and he was like, oh, if you tried to help Yara, you wouldn't be here. It's like they all know he was a coward, and just to cement that scene, it was really justified, because I really got annoyed in last week's episode where he did jump over. It didn't really seem justified. It was like they kind of ruined the whole redemption thing they were going for, but to have that really small scene in there just really drove that point home. And I loved it. It was great. It was so small, but it was really, really a great bit of character and story development. Then we moved on to King's Landing. Euron Greyjoy, he's just a dick, but what an amazing dick he is. Just gets under your skin. He's like the perfect Game of Thrones villain, because he's crazy like Ramsay Bolton, but he's just really, really smart in everything that he does. And just that whole King's Landing segment was just so, it was hard to watch, like him like teasing Jaime, like that was like just, it was just so squirmy. And then you got to the real heart of why they were all there. Lana Dawn, I can't remember her name, Oberyn's wife, just, it was just, you could just felt so bad for her. And but what I really loved about this scene as well was that for a tiny split second, you kind of felt a little bit of empathy towards Cersei when she was talking about her daughter dying, her only daughter. She was so beautiful. She didn't deserve to die, and she really didn't deserve to die. She was just a pawn in this really horrible game that they're playing. And, you know, Marcella was
one of the very few innocent characters in Game of Thrones. To see her get killed, you know, you did kind of empathise with Cersei when she was talking about, you know, she had to, she protected her and she was trying to protect her and she ended up getting killed anyway. But then just to turn it around and then just to kill Illyria Martell's daughter in exactly the same way, but having her chained up. Oh, it was just so horrible and heartbreaking to see, and it just really cemented Cersei as the bitch that she is, because you really went from, as I say, that kind of half empathy to just full on hating Cersei once again. It was just, it just got me really, really upset and really emotional, and it was like, just, yeah, it's like, God, Cersei, you're a bitch. And then we kind of moved on. We had the stuff in Winterfell. The first sort of half of that scene wasn't really like, it was just like, yeah, whatever, okay. Like, Baelish is just trying shit, like he can do one. But then Sansa and Bran, they reunited and it feels so good. It was really awkward though, because like Bran just showed no emotion throughout. It was like, I get he's like the three-eyed raven, he's supposed to know everything, and he kind of knew that reunion was happening, I'm guessing. But it just would have liked to have seen, just in that initial first meeting, just a little bit more emotion from Bran. But then they really kind of did that with the second scene with those two, where Bran was obviously describing when Sansa got raped on her wedding day. It was just really horrible to relive that, and it's not very often I feel for Sansa, but I really felt for her there, because, you know, the first thing her brother has basically said to her is like, he knows everything and he knows she's been raped, and he didn't really offer any empathy with that. He was like, oh, you just look beautiful on your wedding day. So it's really interesting to see where that dynamic is going, because now, as we know, Bran technically is the Lord of Winterfell, so it'll be really interesting to see where that storyline goes now. They've changed that up. I wasn't really invested in Sansa being the ruler. We got to see a bit of that, and now that's been taken away from her, so it'll be good to see how she deals with that and deals with having Bran back in her life. And then we get to the final section, which, oh man, they out Tyrion. How does Cersei Lannister out Tyrion Lannister? He had this great plan. He was going to go into Castle Rock. He was just going to kill them all and take Castle Rock from the Lannisters after so much time of planning, and they outdid him. They outdid Tyrion, and it was really great to see. And it's just, again, I don't know if I'm doing this, but it was just really like awkward to watch, because everything that we've kind of known has been changed. Like we kind of knew, like, I know anything can happen in Game of Thrones, but we were pretty much sure that Daenerys, you know, she had her back and she had her army, and we were just waiting for her to get to Westeros, and now she's there, but all of her allies are gone basically now, apart from Yara, but it doesn't really look good for her. And it was just another great ending to an episode, because again, it has completely changed the game, and it's probably going to go down as one of my favourite Game of Thrones moments ever, and that was the Nana Tyrell, I think his name's Ophelia Tyrell, I think that's right. The old woman, she sat there, and when she called Joffrey a see you next Tuesday, it was like, oh, this is so satisfying. You're gonna die, but you're dying on your own terms. And then right at the end of the episode, it was revealed that she was the one that poisoned Joffrey. Now, this doesn't really come, I don't think it really had the impact it was I don't know whether it was intended or supposed to have, because it was, you know, it happened like 3 or 4 seasons ago now, and we were kind of over it, and I think everyone kind of knew she did it, but it was just, she just, even with her very last breath, basically, she just got one over on the Lannisters, and because there's no repercussions from that now, she is dead, they've got their justice within a sense, but yeah, it just didn't really have a massive impact, but it was just so satisfying. Because I really like Jaime as a character. I think Jaime Lannister is a great character, but he was a bit of a dick in that episode. But so to see him, and then he's going to pass that on to Cersei, just to see their reactions, just to know that right at the end, she got one over on them. It was very, very satisfying. And this was just another, I won't say a standard, but that's not. It's just a standard great episode once again of Game of Thrones. Loads of character development. Everything that you think you know, you don't. It is completely changing. And this is on course to be the best season of Game of Thrones ever, I think. They have constantly hit home runs since it's come back. I know it's only 3 episodes, but I'm very excited for next week's episode. They are just nailing it. And let me know if you've seen Game of Thrones episode 3, season 7, which is entitled The Queen's Justice. And let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. And if you did enjoy this video, then make sure you hit that like button. And why not subscribe, because you'll be helping me out massively. I'm sorry about the lighting situation. Once again, it will be fixed for the very next episode of The Jamie Hughes Show. And I will see you there. Ta-ra.